Hello, good morning everyone. I am Erica Romero. Today I'm going to discuss about complementary angles. But before we start, the lessons that I will tackle for today was complementary angles. What are complementary angles? Complementary angles definition and complementary angles examples. Complementary angles. In geometry, complementary angles are defined as two angles whose sum is 90 degrees. In other words, complementary angles that add up to 90 degrees are known as complementary angles. So therefore, 60 degrees and 30 degrees are the main examples. So what are complementary angles? The complementary angles are the complement and supplement of the two angles that are decided by the sum of their measurements. If the sum of the two angles is equal to the measurement of a right angle, then the pair of angles is said to be the complementary angles. Complementary angles definition. Two angles are said to be complementary if they add up to 90 degrees. In other words, when complementary angles are put together, then they form a right angle, and that is 90 degrees. Just like for example, angle 1 and angle 2 are complementary. If the sum of both the angles is equal to 90 degrees, and thus angle 1 and angle 2 are called complements of each other. So here are the examples of complementary angles. There are three different examples of complementary angles. First, as we can see in the first figure, 60 degrees plus 30 degrees are equals to 90 degrees. These two angles are complementary according to the concept of complementary angles. Each angle among the complementary angles is called the complement of each other. Just like for example, 60 degrees is the complement of 30 degrees, and 30 degrees is the complement of 60 degrees. Second example. As we can see in the second figure, complementary angles are two angles with the sum of 90 degrees. It is a common case is when they form a right angle. For example, angle BXC and angle CXD are the complementary angles in the following. But remember that angle BXT must be a right angle because angle AXB is a right angle. Third example. As we can see in the third figure, the complementary angles do not have to be part of the same figure. There are three angles that are placed on a plane, but only two are the exact complementary. So therefore, only two numbers that sum up to 90 degrees are the first and third angle. So therefore, they are the only complementary angle. And that would be all the lessons all about complementary angles.
So let's move on supplementary angles. So what is supplementary angles? Supplementary angles is when the sum of measure of two angles is equal to 180 degree. If two angles are supplementary, then the sum of their measure is 180 degrees. So we have the example. We have angle COB, which has a measure of 70 degree, and angle BOA, which has a measure of 110 degrees. So if we combine or add the two measures, it has a result of 180 degree, which is a supplementary angles. We can define that the two angles are supplementary if one of its angle is an acute angle and another angle is an obtuse. Two acute angles cannot form a supplementary angle. By definition, acute angles are the angles that measure the angle greater than 0 degree and less than 90 degree. If you add two acute angles in which angle is large as possible, its sum will be less than 180. By the definition of supplementary angles, It is impossible to get a supplementary angle when we add two acute angles. And also, two obtuse angles cannot be formed a supplementary angle because obtuse angles measures greater than 90 degree. If you add two obtuse, the sum will be greater than 180 degree. So it will not satisfy the property of the supplementary angles when we add obtuse angles. Both angles are right angles. When two right angles are added, it is possible to get the supplementary angle because 90 degree plus 90 degree is equal to 180 degree. It satisfies the condition of supplementary angles. There are two types of supplementary angles. These are the adjacent supplementary angles and non-adjacent supplementary angles. Adjacent supplementary angles have a common arm and a common vertex. This is called an adjacent supplementary angles. The adjacent supplementary angles share the common line segment and vertex with each other. So for example, the supplementary angle has a 110 degree and 70 degree in the given figure are adjacent to each other. The non-adjacent supplementary angles. So these angles that do not have common vertex called the non-adjacent supplementary angles. So the non-adjacent supplementary angles do not share the line segment or vertex with each other. For example, the supplementary angles 130 degree and 50 degree in the given figure are non-adjacent to each other. So we have now the properties of supplementary angles. So the two angles when they add up to 180 degrees. And also the two angles together make a straight line, but the angles need to be together. So S of supplementary angles stands for the straight line. This means they form 180 degree.